It sounds like the Sox won't be moving Anthony anytime in the near future. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Look, I think we've gotten to the point in the season where us as fans are essentially just begging the Boston Red Sox to do something here to get Roman Anthony on the big league roster. And it's not just us. Today, we're breaking down an article by the great Alex Spear, which I will link in the description down below, that talks about some of the things and reasons why Roman Anthony is not being called up. And the big thing, in my opinion, in this article is that it's not just fans begging for Roman Anthony to get up here. In this article, he mentions that right now, Craig Breslow is feeling pressure, not only externally, i.e. us, but internally as well, to get Roman Anthony on the big league roster. So why, in his mind, is Roman Anthony not up here? Well, according to him, quote, "Those are a few developmental opportunities that we want to make sure we lock in. Those are the things the minor league schedule and training environment afford. Obviously, we have to balance that with our major league needs." Breslow said on the phone Tuesday. That's a conversation that we're having every single day. Craig Breslow, kind of the king of word salad, right? I think we talked about it with Bloom a lot too, where it was like, you're just saying something and it's coming out as words, but nothing's actually being said. I think actually Breslow does that almost better than Bloom did, right? Where he's just saying and it goes on for what feels like 10 minutes and you get out of it and you're like, what are we talking about here? What was just said? I mean, I think I got the gist of it, but what was the whole thing here, right? Luckily for us, though, he did actually go into detail as to what the things were that they're specifically targeting with Roman Anthony. He mentioned a couple of different things. Specifically, he identified that off-speed pitches in the strike zone as one of the things that Anthony has struggled with. He's currently hitting .229 with a .286 slug on said pitches in the month of May, and that earlier this season, he was letting the ball get too deep in the zone, resulting in hard ground balls rather than long fly balls. Plus, they also want him gaining experience in left field, a position that he hasn't been incredibly well versed in so far in his career. That's genuinely valid reasoning from Craig Breslow, but that doesn't mean I don't have a problem with it. And I actually have a problem with all of those things for a couple of different reasons. One, the first reason here is because Roman Anthony will only be able to see a certain caliber of off-speed pitches in AAA. We talk about this quite a bit, but AAA, for the most part, is either a pit stop for exciting young prospects or it's a home for guys who just simply aren't major league caliber players, right? Similarly to a lot of the pitchers you're seeing on the Red Sox current minor league roster in AAA, right? At some point here, you're only going to be able to see a certain caliber of off-speed pitch. On top of that, a majority of off-speed pitches in AAA end up outside of the strike zone. So you may not be able to build up a big enough sample size with Roman Anthony on these style of pitches to really sort of see any true transformation in his ability to hit those. On top of that, when we're looking at the off-speed stuff, and point number two is you're kind of saying that, hey, Roman Anthony can't struggle against these pitches at the major league level, right? We can't let him develop against those pitches at the major league level, but we are perfectly fine with a guy like, say, Don Rafaela hitting 167 on off-speed stuff this season with a .265 slug, or letting Christian Campbell, another rookie in Major League Baseball, struggle against them at the major league level, hitting 190 on breaking balls and 158 on off-speed stuff. Or the fact that you're perfectly fine watching Trevor Story not be able to hit a fastball with just a 179 average against them, or really off-speed stuff as well with a 233 average against them. My question to this is, why are we perfectly okay allowing these guys specifically to struggle at the major league level against the exact pitches you're talking about here with Roman Anthony, but we're not okay with allowing the number one prospect in the sport to also develop them at the major league level as well? And I get it, you're trying to prioritize winning in 2025, but right now you're not winning. Right now, you're doing a whole lot of losing. These guys are contributing to your losses in games. They're struggling against the same stuff. There are benefits to having Roman Anthony develop this type of skill set at the major league level. What's the benefit of having Trevor Story struggle against the similar stuff at the major league level, right? I don't totally understand why we're okay with Story out here absolutely pooping his pants against a lot of these types of pitches, basically everything outside of breaking balls, but we're not okay with allowing Roman Anthony to do something similar. The third thing I want to talk about is, yes, the ground ball rate for Roman Anthony is pretty high this season. However, you're not talking about little 60-mile-an-hour dribblers to second base or first base or whatever. You're talking about a pretty decent amount here of 100-plus-mile-an-hour ground balls. I still think that's beneficial to this Red Sox team. In fact, you take a look at some of the guys who are leading the league in ground ball rates, there's some really productive names in here. Elly De La Cruz is having a pretty solid season for the Cincinnati Reds. Justin Wilson is currently running away with the Rookie of the Year candidacy. He's hitting a whole lot of ground balls. Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the most potent hitters in Major League Baseball at the moment. He's hitting a majority of ground balls. Guys like Juan Soto, who, yes, I get it, is having a down year, but his down year is still a well above average productive player. He's hitting a lot of ground balls as well. You could still be a very productive hitter and hit a lot of ground balls. On top of that, the Red Sox could probably use any type of ball in play right now, right? You're third in baseball when it comes to strikeouts, and yet you're perfectly okay with allowing guys to sit there and have 3-4 at-bats where they strike out a game instead of having a guy who's going to go up there, strike out once or twice a game and give you a whole lot of contact, right? I don't know about you guys, but to me, I would take 100-mile-an-hour ground balls every single day over a strikeout, and I think that's a very, very interesting point that Craig Breslow made. And the final point here, number 4, has to do with him learning left field. I don't understand that. I'll be totally honest with you. Roman Anthony has been an outfielder his entire career. He's played a lot of center. He's played a lot of right field. The transition over to left field really shouldn't warrant a minor league stint to the point where you're holding him down way longer than you possibly should, at least in my opinion, right? And if that's the case, why again are you perfectly comfortable with moving Christian Campbell basically all over the diamond? The dude's played left, he's played center, he's played second base, he's going to be playing first base at some point this series as well. That's 4 different positions for this guy, yet he's perfectly okay moving positions to all over the diamond and a position he's never played, yet you're being kind of coddling Roman Anthony moving over from center to left field. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Now, that wasn't his only quote from this article, and I think it's only right that we include some of his other quotes in this. Some of the other things that stood out in this Alex Spear article that I want to put in this video are quotes like, "We're mindful of putting too much pressure on any individual, or in this case, 2 or 3 individuals, but also we need to make sure we're mindful of the runway and playing time and likelihood that talented young players can come up and as they acclimate to the big league struggle at time. All of those factors." I don't disagree with him, but at the same time, too, it's about situations, right? You sit there and you say, hey, we don't want to put too much pressure on young individuals. Well, over the course of this season, you've had Christian Campbell in the 4th spot despite his struggles. You've had Marcelo Meyer 4 games into his major league career in the 4-hole of this Red Sox team, right? That's a lot of pressure you're putting on those individuals. Why not put the same pressure on Roman Anthony, right? What is the difference between Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, and Roman Anthony? If you're already struggling to find production in your lineup and already relying on guys who have 2 months to a week in Major League Baseball, why is it different when it comes to the Roman Anthony situation? The other one I wanted to point out was, I think it's no longer early in the season where we say, hey, we need to give these guys time to understand what we are. We obviously have prioritized winning in 2025, and we need to do everything we can toward that end, whether that is internal promotions or aggressively looking externally, Breslow said. We need to keep those paths open. We also need to continue to try and push the guys we already have on the roster to get the best performances out of them. Again, you go back to, okay, what is the best way to put yourself in a position to win at this point in the season? You've lost Bregman. Tristan Casas was a non-factor this season. Both guys that you were relying on to be big parts of this team. One successfully who got injured. The other one who just never showed up out of spring training, right? How do you put a team on the field that's going to win? Your best bet is to go with your most talented team. And right now, your most talented team will not be put together until Roman Anthony is at the big league level. If you're truly prioritizing winning in 2025, the only way to do that is to put your most talented team on the field. Is that going to save this Red Sox team? I see a lot of that. It's not going to save the Red Sox. I'm not looking for the Red Sox to save this season. I'm looking for them to at least make an attempt to put their best foot forward. I'm okay with the Red Sox not having a good year while trying their hardest to win baseball games. I'm not okay with them sitting here manipulating service time just simply to get an extra year of control over a guy who you want to have as a major cornerstone of your next competitive baseball team. I think honestly, that's why all of these quotes simply rub me the wrong way, because to me, it feels like a pile of BS. It feels like a just well-executed excuse to not have to lose service time on a guy that you can't afford to lose service time on. And to me, again, we go back to this and we've talked about this a lot. I understand the idea of manipulating this guy's service time, right? If you think he's going to be what he's projected to be, yeah, get as many years as humanly possible out of him. But at the same time, too, you're not the Pirates or the Reds who can't/won't extend your talent like a guy like this, right? The Pirates, you already know, are going to have to trade Paul Skeens at some point. The Red Sox, they don't have to do that, right? You were the third or fourth most valued team in the entire sport. You have, and you've proven you have the capability of giving out big contracts to ensure that guys are here past what their allotted arbitration is. You just did it with Campbell. You just did it with Crochet. Rafael Devers is a big one, right? You just passed out $300 million to that dude. You have the capability of figuring out a way to ensure that these guys stay on your roster, and yet you're sitting here and you're trying to sell us on the idea of manipulating service time. I just don't think it's going to work, right? I just don't think it makes any sense. I don't care about the draft pick at this point. I don't care about the service time manipulation at this point. We were promised a winning baseball team in 2025, and I firmly believe that not only are you going to win more games with Roman Anthony, but even if you don't, you are setting yourselves up to win more games as soon as humanly possible, and this is the best way to do it. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of sick and tired of this word salad, right? This sort of nothing burger responses Craig Breslow is giving, even with the specific situations in this video. I still think he's sitting there and he's just talking out his butt, trying to ensure that they can hold him down as long as possible so they don't need to deal with a service time thing. And to me, it feels absolutely pathetic. And you know what's interesting is the internal pieces of this are also starting to think the same thing. There has to be a limitation on how long you have Roman Anthony in minor league baseball. And if it's not soon, people are really going to start to question what the Red Sox are doing this year. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm overreacting to all of this. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of Breslow's comments here? Do you agree with sort of my counterpoints on these? Are you in the opposite boat? Let me know what you're thinking. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, though, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.